Saturday, February 21st, 2026, AGNDD until I report topic. Austrian man found guilty in girlfriend's death on mountain hike. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this partially AI-generated article-based video. Austrian man found guilty in girlfriend's death on mountain hike. Thomas Plamberger was given a suspended prison sentence and fined in a case that tested the limits of personal responsibility in mountaineering. By Helena Smolak and Jonathan Wolfe. The New York Times, February 19, 2026. Helena Smolak reported from the courtroom in Innsbruck, Austria. An Austrian man was found guilty on Thursday of gross negligent manslaughter after he left his girlfriend behind on a mountain hike and she froze to death in a case that prompted an international debate over personal responsibility in mountaineering. The man, Thomas Plamberger, 37, was given a suspended sentence of 5 months in prison and fined €9,600, about $11,300, in the Innsbruck courtroom over the death of his 33-year-old girlfriend, Kirsten Gertner. Her body was discovered the morning after the couple set out on a hike in January 2025, just a few meters below the summit of Grossglockner, Austria's tallest mountain. Mr. Plamberger said during the trial that his girlfriend had become exhausted near the summit on their hike and that the couple had decided he would descend the mountain to get help while she stayed. Judge Norbert Hofer, who presided over the trial, which did not have a jury, expressed sympathy for Mr. Plamberger, but also condemned him for his actions during the hike. "Mr. Plamberger, you have borne an incredible burden. You lost a person," he said. "She placed herself in your care and trusted that her partner would bring her up safely," he said, adding, "If you had acted differently, I strongly assume that your partner would have survived." During the trial, Mr. Plamberger apologized and said he had lost the most beloved person in his life. "I am infinitely sorry for what happened," he said, adding, "I loved Kirsten. We always made decisions together on the mountain." Around 15 witnesses and experts were called during the trial, including members of Mr. Plamberger's family, rescue workers, law enforcement officers, and Miss Gertner's mother, Gertrude Gertner, who said she did not believe Mr. Plamberger was responsible for her daughter's death. The trial, which drew international attention, was seen as a test of an Austrian legal tradition that requires people who have a duty of care to protect others and avert danger. The verdict could also have ramifications for Austria's large alpine tourism industry, adding more legal responsibility for individuals engaging in potentially dangerous excursions. Before the trial, Mr. Plamberger and prosecutors laid out their separate versions of what happened during the climb in January 2025, in what experts said was an unusually public approach for both sides in a case against a private individual. Mr. Plamberger, a professional chef, described through his lawyer an expedition plunged into turmoil by his girlfriend's sudden exhaustion, while the authorities listed a slew of what they said were missteps by Mr. Plamberger. On the hike, Miss Gertner suddenly showed signs of exhaustion around midnight, according to Mr. Plamberger. He called the police to request a rescue helicopter, but the police said that Mr. Plamberger had told them that everything was fine. After the call, Miss Gertner could no longer continue, Mr. Plamberger said, and they decided he would descend alone to find help. He called the police again around 3:30 a.m. and requested a helicopter. Miss Gertner's body was discovered later that morning. Prosecutors had detailed 9 errors they said Mr. Plamberger made that led to Miss Gertner's death, including failing to bring sufficient emergency equipment and not turning around when conditions worsened. The case hinged on a concept in Germanic law known as Garantenstellung. It establishes a responsibility to intervene for people who have a duty of care in a range of situations, including parents caring for children or a driver who hits a pedestrian, and can put liability on those people. The prosecution argued that Mr. Plamberger was more experienced than Miss Gertner, whom he had been dating for about a year and was therefore responsible for her on the trip. The defense argued that they were both experienced and had both planned the trip. During the trial on Thursday, Judge Hofer, who is also an emergency mountain rescuer, criticized Mr. Plamberger for not communicating with the police that his girlfriend could no longer continue, and for not taking steps to protect her. "My partner can't continue was not communicated. That is the most fundamental information," Judge Hofer said. "Then the strategy changes. A position sheltered from wind, take out blankets. As a mountaineer, you must know that." A dramatic turn came late in the trial when a surprise witness, Andrea Bergener, an ex-girlfriend of Mr. Plamberger's, testified that Mr. Plamberger had left her alone on a night hike on Grossglockner a few years earlier. "Once we descended the Glockner at night, and suddenly he was gone," she said. "I felt dizzy, I screamed, and I was completely alone. From then on, we didn't go on any more hikes together." In the end, the judge found that Mr. Plamberger was largely responsible for Miss Gertner, saying his mountaineering skills were galaxies away from hers, and faulting him for not recognizing and understanding her abilities. "You are an excellent alpinist, but someone who finds it very difficult to make the switch between your own limits and those of others," he said. Mr. Plamberger's lawyer, Kurt Jelinek, said after the ruling that the trial was fair and that his client accepted the verdict with composure. He added that Mr. Plamberger would take time before considering an appeal. At its core, the case examined how much responsibility can be put on a private individual when they are engaging in risky or dangerous behavior with others. The question has become increasingly relevant in Austria, where more and more less experienced visitors have visited the mountains in recent years, leading to an uptick in accidents. Severin Glaser, a professor of criminal law at the University of Innsbruck in Austria, said the guilty verdict could alter mountaineering in Austria as people consider their liability on personal tours. "This could shift the responsibility for yourself if you're doing something dangerous," he said. "The costs of mountaineering, the costs of expressing your freedom might rise, and maybe some people are not willing anymore to pay this higher price." Jonathan Wolfe is a Times reporter based in London, covering breaking news.
Thank you for watching this AGNDD and Tele report, dear viewers. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified during new uploads. And make sure to tune in next time. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers!